Rooted and Rising by Wycliffe Mtama Wanjala. Dedication. To you, the one who is still becoming, the one who has felt the weight of comparison, the pull of expectation, and the quiet ache of not yet knowing. Thank you for picking up this book. Thank you for being willing to sit with hard questions, for refusing to settle for borrowed answers, showing up to the work of building a life that is truly your own. May you stop assembling yourself from fragments and start building from the inside out. May you trust the slow work of growth, honor the courage it takes to question, and find the strength to remain steady when the path is unclear. And to the anchor that holds when everything else shifts, may you become someone who can carry what you are given and give what you have received. Acknowledgement. No work of substance is built in isolation. While this book carries my name, it is shaped by the presence, influence, and contribution of many people whose impact cannot be fully captured in a few lines. First, I give thanks to God, the anchor behind every moment of clarity, every question that demanded reflection, and every step that is taken in uncertainty. This work is in many ways a response to that steady guidance. To my family, thank you for the foundation you provided, for the sacrifices that you made education possible, and for the values that continue to shape how I see the world. Your influence has been formative. To my mentors, teachers, and lecturers, those who took time to challenge my thinking and push me beyond surface level understanding, your voices echo throughout this work, and you modeled discipline, curiosity, and intellectual honesty. To my editor and the team at Emerge Publishing, thank you for your patience, attention to detail, and commitment to bringing this clarity and structure to the manuscript. To colleagues, friends, and peers who have engaged in honest conversations, your perspectives have shaped my understanding. Many of the ideas in this book were refined in dialogue and shared reflection. To my students who continue to ask questions with sincerity and courage, thank you for reminding me that growth is ongoing. Finally, to every reader who chooses to engage with this work, thank you. This book was written as an invitation to reflect, to question, and to build intentionally. Why I wrote this book. There was a time when I was doing everything right, at least on the surface. I was learning, progressing, adapting, and meeting expectations. From the outside, it looked like movement. It looked like growth. But internally, there was a quiet tension I could not ignore. A sense that while I was moving forward, I was not entirely sure what I was doing or who I was becoming in the process. That tension is not unique to me. It's shared by many people. We are living in a time where access has increased, but clarity has not. You can learn anything, connect with anyone, and pursue multiple paths at once. Yet, beneath all this possibility, many people are quietly asking the same questions. Am I building something real or just performing? Am I choosing this path or inheriting it? Do I believe what I say, or have I simply repeated it long enough to sound convincing? This book was written out of that tension, not a declaration of mastery, but a response to the process I have had to take seriously, the process of becoming intentional. I began to realize that identity does not form automatically, direction does not clarify itself, discipline does not appear by accident. Character does not develop under pressure unless it has been built beforehand. These things must be constructed slowly, deliberately, often quietly. I wrote this book because I noticed how easy it is to assemble a life from fragments, taking a little from trends, a little from expectations, a little from what is rewarded, and calling it identity. I saw how easily performance can replace authenticity, how quickly borrowed beliefs can feel like conviction, and how often direction is shaped by urgency rather than clarity. And I saw the cost, confusion that is difficult to explain, progress that feels disconnected, achievements that does not feel like alignment. This book is my attempt to respond to that reality, not with quick answers but with structured reflection. It is built around four foundations: identity, direction, discipline, and character. Not because they are abstract ideas, but because they determine the quality of life over time. When they are weak, everything else becomes unstable. When they are developed intentionally, they create coherence. I also wrote this book because I believe something important: that you are not lost because you are uncertain. You are not behind because your path is unclear. You're not weak because you are questioning. You are thinking. You are observing. You are refusing to accept borrowed definitions without examination. And that is where real growth begins. This book is not here to tell you who to become. It is here to help you think clearly enough to build intentionally. If at any point while reading this book you pause and begin to ask better questions about your identity, your direction, your beliefs, or your habits, then this work has done what it was meant to do. Because in the end, this is not just a book about understanding life. It's about building one that is truly your own. Introduction. There is a quiet moment that many people experience but rarely name. It does not arrive with noise or urgency. It does not demand attention. It simply appears, often in the middle of an ordinary day. When you pause long enough to notice that something within you is unsettled, you are moving, achieving, responding, adapting. From the outside, everything seems to be progressing. But internally, there is a question forming, subtle but persistent. Not loud enough to disrupt your routine, but strong enough to remain. Is this truly my life? This book begins in that space. Not in crisis, not in collapse, but in the quiet awareness that something deeper requires attention. It is written for the person who is functioning well on the surface, but sensing a gap beneath it. The person who is capable, informed, and engaged, yet unsure whether the life they are building is fully their own. We live in a time of unprecedented access. Information is constant, opinions are immediate, opportunities appear limitless. You can learn anything, become almost anything, and connect with anyone. And yet, with all this access, something essential has become more difficult: clarity. It is no longer enough to ask what is possible. The more important questions are quieter and more demanding. Who are you becoming beneath the noise? What do you actually believe and why do you believe it? Where are you going and what is guiding that direction? What kind of character will sustain you when visibility, pressure, and responsibilities increase? These are not questions that can be answered quickly. They require time, they require reflection and honesty. They demand that you move beyond performance and begin to work on construction. This book is not a collection of quick solutions. It is a structured exploration of four interconnected foundations: identity, direction, discipline, and character. Identity is where the work begins. It is the process of understanding who you are beyond comparison, expectation, and performance. It asks you to examine the influences shaping your thinking and to begin to work on building from within. Direction follows. Once identity begins to stabilize, the question shifts from who am I to where am I going? In a world full of options, choosing a path requires clarity, focus, and willingness to let go of alternatives. Discipline sustains the journey. Without the ability to focus, to work deeply, and to follow through consistently, even the clearest direction remains theoretical. Discipline transforms intention into reality. Character anchors everything. As progress becomes visible and influence grows, pressure increases. Character determines whether success threatens you or distorts you. It is what allows you to remain steady when circumstances change. These foundations are not developed in isolation, they interact constantly. Weak identity leads to unstable direction. Unclear direction weakens discipline, and discipline without character can produce success without integrity. This book explores how they connect and how to build them intentionally. The journey you are about to begin is not dramatic. It will not always feel exciting. Much of the work happens in quiet decisions. What you pay attention to, what you question, what you choose to pursue, and what you are willing to let go of. You will encounter moments of uncertainty, and this is not failure. This is part of the process. Growth rarely announces itself clearly. It often feels like confusion before it becomes clarity. You're not expected to have everything figured out. You are expected to begin. As you move into the first chapter, you will step into familiar questions. One that often hides beneath comparison, expectation, and performance. Who am I supposed to be? And this is where the work starts.